What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. The Angry Birds Movie 2 drops next week, and today we are going to talk about it. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, and I need your comments down below. Let me know, did you enjoy this movie? And if you enjoy this video, stay tuned, because a lot of movies dropping this weekend, and that means a lot of reviews. But first, let's talk about the Angry Birds 2. So in the Angry Birds Movie 2, the flightless birds and scheming green pigs take their feud to the next level. And unless you're following me really closely on Letterboxd, you may not know how I feel about the first Angry Birds, and just to recap, it's fine. It works well for kids, it's colorful, it's vibrant, it has everything a child wants in a child's movie. It doesn't have as much for adults, and I did have issues with the story and the plot and the characters. It's just another animated movie for me, taking advantage what we love, what I love, a game that I used to play all the time on my iPhone in the Angry Birds, and that worked well. The movie overall, though, I was like, yeah, okay, when we get a sequel. Why do we get a sequel? Because the first one made money, and the second one comes, and you know what? I will say this. The second one is better than the first one for me. Do I think this is a great film? No. Do I even think it's a good movie? Not necessarily. This film is, as I would say about the first movie, it's fine. Honestly, the reason why I like this a bit more than the first is I think the humor is integrated a lot better in this movie. More jokes worked for me. I was laughing way more than I was in the first. I think the first has the charm factor to it, and that beats out this movie just a bit. But this film had the laughs, and it has the cast. The same cast returning from the first, but this time you're bringing in new players, and the new players for me work super well. And there's also a storyline in there that I would normally find extremely annoying, but it kind of reminded me, what's his name, Scrat from Ice Age, how we would always go from our main journey and kind of follow him along on his side journey. It felt that way with the three little birds in this movie. We would keep flashing back to what's going on in their world. That was cute. It may take away from the story for some people, but the story for me wasn't necessarily the intriguing part of this movie in the first place. It's predictable, it's bland, it's something we've seen a billion times before. But you have this voice cast, and Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Bill Hader, all of the returning players, but the one who really stole the show for me and who killed it, I mean killed it in her role, is Leslie Jones as the villain. Awkwafina's in here too, and she's great, but Leslie Jones, every time she's on screen, her voice performance commands the screen, and it's the comedic timing that her character has, and really the comedic timing on every character's part is better. Austin, it sounds like you're liking this movie a lot more than you let on at the beginning. Well, here's what I'll say. This film is clearly intended for children. That's what most of these movies are made for. Now, when they can outdo that and bring something for the adults, I respect it highly. When they can bring a little bit for adults, but have enough in there to where they're not bored out of their minds in the theater, I'll still give them a bit of kudos. I'm not going to give this movie all of the praise in the world, but I've seen some really bad animated movies this year. And the Angry Birds Movie 2 is nowhere near the level of low quality that those movies were, because this film is at least competent. It at least knows what it's trying to do. It doesn't try to do too much. It doesn't try to outdo itself in terms of plot and be smarter than what the premise and what the first movie intended on being. See, the first film, in my mind, set a precedent of this is what we are, this is how we're going to treat our characters. Every now and then we'll throw a very modern, timely joke, and I'll talk about that here in just a second, or we'll talk about butts and poops and farts, and the kids are gonna love that. They don't slap you in the face with it, they don't overdo it, and they don't make you feel dumb as an audience member, and that's why at the end of the day I can say the movie is fine. I just can't get it much higher than that because it doesn't go that extra mile. It doesn't do anything outstanding. Yes, it's cute, and there are characters in there that had their moments, but then you have the incredible just amount of exposition throughout the entire movie. I mean, there's a line at the beginning, "Isn't it weird how no one liked you until you saved everyone on the island and now everyone loves you?" What's the purpose behind that statement other than to recap the first movie in a 10-second statement for children? Why say that? And the exposition was so prevalent throughout the entire movie. And then the modern jokes, the jokes that in 10 years people are going to look back upon and say, well, that doesn't make any sense because it's way too timely. And not even that, it's the dabbing and the things thrown in there for kids and the situations that they get in. They're so 2019 and frankly cringeworthy. I'm sitting back like, just why? There's a moment in there when one of the characters goes, "I'm gonna take him out," and then he ends up taking the villains out for a drink, and it was really funny, and I'm like, oh, adults can appreciate that. And then you follow it up with a Baby Shark reference, and and you're just sitting back going, why? Every decision it seems like they made that was good, they would follow it up with something a bit rough, or a bit cringeworthy, or a bit too 2019. And for kids who are growing up and maybe you have the TikToks and you love that kind of stuff, then maybe you're gonna get a laugh out of those jokes in the movie, and maybe that's why it's got such a high score on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, if you dig a bit deeper, the average score is actually like right at a 5.5, 6 out of 10, but it seems like way more people gave it a 6 than a 5, and that's the difference on Rotten Tomatoes between rotten or fresh. I'm not trying to justify me saying that I'm probably going to go in more of the rotten territory. I'm not going to go too low with my score, but I'm just saying that most critics are pretty much on the same page. The Angry Birds Movie 2 is not offensive, it's not horrible, it's not the worst animated movie I've seen all year. It's also not great, it doesn't give you a plot or a story that you can latch onto. The characters are cute, and kids are going to love it, and at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. I'm going to go right down the middle, a 50% for the Angry Birds Movie 2. If you guys want to watch it, you like these characters, and if you enjoyed the first one, definitely check this one out. If you did not, for me it's more of the same, but maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, a packed weekend. Scary stories to tell in the dark. Dora goes and explores something. The art of racing in the rain. The kitchen, the farewell. All of these reviews, I'm going to be binging, I'm going to be watching, hopefully putting out these reviews Friday, Saturday, tomorrow night, starting with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll be back tomorrow night, and I'll catch you very soon.